So a couple months ago, I actually talked about this on the channel, but for those of you who didn't hear, there was a lot of rumors going around that Sony were trying to get Miles Morales involved somehow with not only potentially the next, of course, Spider-Man film with Tom Holland, but potentially having his standalone solo film as well. And this looked like it was going to be genuinely happening for quite a while. And then we heard a couple reports that it might not be. Like, Sony really wanted it in their universe. Marvel were like, we wanted it in our universe. All the fans like myself were like, it doesn't make any sense to have it in a Sony universe. It makes a lot of sense to have it in the MCU. Looks like Marvel not only might have won in that, but might also have won in terms of, it looks like they are going to be introducing Miles Morales in their Tom Holland MCU Spider-Man 4 movie. And this is being reported by a ton of different reporters. I believe Daniel RPK is one of the main ones. There's one here that says Marvel is planning to introduce Miles Morales. On this post, it says, according to insider Daniel RPK, Kevin Feige and Amy Pascal are planning to introduce Miles Morales in Spider-Man 4. The live-action Miles Morales movie will now take place in the Marvel Cinematic Universe instead of Sony's, which, again, I will get into why it was a dumb idea in a second to have that in Sony's universe. But also, there's again another post here by Daniel RPK. Kevin Feige is planning on introducing Miles Morales officially in Spider-Man 4. So again, of course, this is a great decision by Marvel. This makes a ton of sense. I've never been exactly the biggest Miles Morales fan. I think you guys know a bit of that. Again, we saw some. We've got his own movies now, his animated ones. We saw the Prowler from the 2017 Spider-Man Homecoming movie make an appearance in, of course, Across the Spider-Verse. I thought I had to point that out because I thought that was pretty funny and a pretty interesting Easter egg. Again, as I was saying, I've never been that big on Miles Morales, but I still think it is an exceptional idea to introduce him in the MCU. Again, I've just never really related to him as much. I've found his villains a little bit boring. But what they've been able to do, again, with Miles Morales in media is, of course, they've been able to, in the game, he had Peter's Spider-Man, so he had Peter's villains, so he was really interesting there. In the animated movies, as we can see, he had, of course, a bunch of the other Spider-Man. He had a really awesome plot, which, again, actually involves him, again, being like the only Miles Morales they've seen kind of to again, be bit by the spider. He was like an anomaly, as we've seen. It wasn't supposed to be a canon event, all of this type of stuff, right? A lot of really awesome things going on in that movie. But, of course, the big one, I think if you were just to put him in the Sony universe, it might not make the most amount of sense, just because you might be able to get like one movie out of it where he would have the Prowler as the villain. Then maybe we would see him fight Venom or be in some other crappy Sony products of those movies that no one really likes other than like the Venom movies. It just wouldn't have been a good idea. But the MCU is a unique thing that we haven't seen Miles Morales do, especially in any of the movies or any of the games. We have not seen Miles Morales, come up with the Avengers, like be an Avenger. How awesome is that going to be that not only are we possibly going to be getting Miles Morales in this Spider-Man 4 movie, but the potential to him becoming a Spider-Man, the Kid Arachnid later on, and potentially being in the Avengers and fighting people like Doctor Doom and stuff like that, that is a unique thing that we are pretty much, as a mainstream fan, yet to see Miles Morales do. Like, if you don't read the comics or anything like that, you have not seen Miles Morales come across, again, I think, an opponent like Doctor Doom and stuff like that. Like, his villains in the comics are like the Prowler, and then in the game, they made like the Tinkerer, a new version of that, a female character, his villain. Obviously, those are okay characters, but they're not Doctor Doom and they're not Green Goblin level, which we will get to see in the MCU, which is extremely interesting. And I think, again, as I said, this is a great idea. Not only can we have Spider-Man 4 now, but they could also start production, of course, on a Spider-Man Miles Morales movie. Whether that's going to be called Spider-Man Miles Morales, or maybe they go back to their OG Kid Arachnid name. They probably won't do that, though, because Sony have so detached that now from it. They're going to want the Miles Morales name stuck in place now, which I guess makes sense for them, as what people, of course, know of by. But there's a lot of really interesting stuff going on here, and this could be a really, really cool and fun idea. Again, the fact is now, after Spider-Man 4, we won't have to wait so long to get another Spider-Man movie. When Spider-Man 4 comes out, there is a rumor it's going to be 2026 early, maybe end of 2025. But again, they're supposed to be starting filming, I think, in the fall. I just can't see that being ready by end of 2025. I think early 2026 is the best we're going to get. The fact is, that's like 5 years since the last movie, which is crazy to think. 4 to 5 years, right? And then with the Avengers movies and stuff coming out, it's probably going to be another 3 or so years. 3 to 4 years till we probably get another Spider-Man movie. I really don't know. But now we got a Miles Morales movie here, so there's a lot going on. There's a lot of really awesome things to look forward to. I'm not exactly too sure how the Miles Morales movie could go. I think the Prowler, obviously with Donald Glover, has to be a main villain. But I also think there's a lot of room to introduce another villain. They're not going to do someone like the Tinkerer, but maybe even having a character like the Shocker. There is a fly. Get out of here, man. Maybe a character like the Shocker, who obviously had, I believe, I can't remember, the last Shocker encountered, of course, the Prowler or Aaron Davies in Spider-Man Homecoming. Maybe they revisit something like that, where now the Shocker becomes a Miles Morales villain. Could that be a cool idea? Again, we haven't really seen much of the Shocker other than the small glimpses of him in the Spider-Man Homecoming movie in live action. So I think maybe introducing him as that same actor back in this movie, maybe because he's still an arms dealer, still selling weapons. Maybe the Prowler takes some stuff off him, or they're still doing business. That's how Miles Morales could get in contact with him. I'm not too sure. It's an interesting idea. With what actor's going to play Miles Morales? Well, there's about 800 different actors. If they want to go in high school, there's like the kid from Cobra Kai, could be a cool one. If they want to go to college, there's like Caleb McLaughlin or Monahan, I think his name is. I can't remember, but the dude from Stranger Things or whatever. Fuck, this fly is pissing me off. And then, of course, maybe Jaden Smith could be an option. I'm not exactly too sure. There's a couple of different scenarios they could go. Jaden Smith, I know a lot of people don't like, but is still like low-key underrated actor. So again, he's done some cool films like Life in a Year, or I think it was called. That's an underrated film, and his acting performance in that is underrated. So there's a lot of different things they could do with this. Again, I'd very much like to hear all of your thoughts and opinions down below. Are you guys excited for a Spider-Man Miles Morales film, or are you guys not? Do you guys think him appearing in Spider-Man 4 is going to be a cool idea? Or how do you think that's, of course, going to go? I'd very much like to hear your thoughts and opinions. Don't forget to subscribe to my sports channel and my IRL/vlogging channels, which will be getting linked in the description down below. But as I was saying, please make sure to leave a like, subscribe, and comment. And I'll see you guys next time. Goodbye.